All right, thank you so much for staying with Citizen TV and the Monday Report. This is a town hall session where we told you can ask all the questions you may have to the man at the helm of the police service, Hillary Muytambai. That's the Inspector General of Police. He's joining us live now. This is his first television interview since he took the helm of the police service. The hashtag we're using is Monday Report at Trevor Mbija at Citizen TV Kenya. You can pose all the questions. There's so many of them coming through. I'll try to pose as many of them to the man at the helm as much as I can. Inspector General, thank you so much for making time for us this evening, and let's just get straight into it, sir. What is your position on police brutality?
Thank you, Trevor, for inviting me for this session. My position on the police brutality, as you know, that the police takes responsibility on their own action. Any action by the police officer is very clear that they take their responsibility. When a police officer action is excess, is held as individual responsible. So when we talk about police brutality, I wanted to bring you to the correct perspective that it's not police brutality, it's an individual police brutality. In short, Trevor, I would like you to know that most of our police officers are good. The few cases which comes up and which I confirm to you, those cases which requires police action by the leadership, action is taken. Those ones which goes beyond the police service, they pour under other organs working as oversight of the police also take action. And those cases are of very few officers. Police is running a service of over 100,000 officers. And those who are involved in police excesses are not many, a very small percentage. So when we talk about police brutality, let us be very specific. This does not reflect the whole service. And I think that is the position of the service. Thank you.
But IG, you recently transferred police officers from Lesos instead of taking action against them. You would say now that they bear their own individual responsibilities, but why are you transferring your officers instead of taking action?
Trevor, I like you to get the correct situation. On Lesos attack of the public against the police station in Lesos, you remember I issued a statement from my office. And during that statement, I made it very clear that the officer responsible, who was responsible for this fracas, action was taken. I gave instruction action to be taken. Subsequently, I dispatched the director Internal Affairs Unit to the ground, who accompanied the Deputy Inspector General to go and review and look at the facts on the ground. To your information, I would like you to know, Trevor, the Director Internal Affairs Unit had to stay there for 3 days and come up with the facts, what exactly happened. I would like at this juncture, Trevor, to let the Kenyans know that the subsequent events which followed that incident, even going into the police stations, that was excess from the members of public. The public acted out of the law to get into the police station, even touching, setting ablaze the house of the officer commanding station, which was illegal. And this being illegal, what do you expect, Trevor? The action from the police. The police main mandate is protection of the property and life. The property was being destroyed even inside the police station. And I want to caution the members of public, we cooperate when it comes to incidences of law and order. The police has their sole mandate to maintain law and order. We expect the members of public to cooperate with the police, and where necessary, that there are issues of police excesses, channels are set down how to pass this information for the proper action. But when the members of public gets out of their hand and start touching the police station, I think this story should be made very clear. The police will not entertain that.
But IG, you say the police will not entertain this. The reason they went to the station first is because they feel one of them was shot unlawfully. And we've just seen in Kirinyaga as well today, 2 police officers were attacked by the public when they tried to protect a Miraa driver who ran over one of them. What are you doing as the IG to make sure that the relationship between the police and the public is cordial?
I want to repeat it once again, Trevor, that this should come to a very clear caution to the members of public. There are procedures to make complaint where the public or Kenyans feels they have been aggrieved by individual police officer. And I want to repeat it again, an individual police officer, not the whole service, the National Police Service. The protocols, procedures are well laid down how to handle cases of those officers involved in police excesses. And when the Kenyans takes law in their hand, and once again I want to make it very clear, this is illegal and it will be dealt according with the law. I want to repeat it again, cautions and warning to those takes law in their hands that it will not be acceptable.
IG, you say that you take action against police officers. How many have been held liable for their mistakes?
Yes, I confirm to you that we have many those officers involved in discipline cases. The action has been taken, but I also like to be very open to you that I can't state specifics when it comes to the issues of indisciplinary. I will not be able to name names, give you figures. Some of these things also are also supposed to be dealt with the confidentiality it deserves. But what I want you to get from me, that those officers who have been involved in manners that suggest of police excesses, action has been taken. Police also, they are Kenyans. They have their own rights. Like you, Trevor, you also have you have your own rights like any other Kenyans. That same applies to the police officers.
Okay, that's a fair answer. But then during the Sabasaba protest, the police arrested peaceful protesters. Why do police arrest peaceful protesters, Bwana IG?
Thank you, Trevor. One, National Police Service respects the right of all Kenyans as per the Constitution. But you remember, the rights have also limitation. And I'm stating this according to the law. When the rights start exceeding to infringe the other rights of the other people, they also becomes illegal. In this respect, police mandate is to enforce the Ministry of Health directives, and it is very clear the people, Kenyans should keep in any gathering the social distance. Mandate of the police officers is to ensure all those guidelines are complied to. When it comes to where the social distance and violation of the Ministry of Health guidelines takes place, it is the responsibility of the National Police Service to ensure those guidelines are complied to. I hope that my answer gives you adequate reasons why the police had to disrupt the demonstration.
But the police give permissions for such peaceful protests, right?
Yes, it gives permission as long as the guidelines which the police is mandated to enforce is adhered to. Once those guidelines are not respected, still police have the powers and the rights to ensure those gatherings are illegal and disperse them.
Okay. So, IG, the police have still been ranked as the most corrupt. What are you doing to change that perception and to rein in on the corrupt police officers in the service that you say? Yes, you said there are more than 100,000 of them and it's not a blanket condemnation. But what are you doing to ensure that that perception is changed?
I think, Trevor, I should bring you on board and gives you the progress the National Police has successfully managed to bring the corruption index down. Last year, the International Amnesty, it is in the open domain, ranked police for the first time 3 positions down the list as the least corrupt organization. We were number 3 from the top of the list. At the end of the year, the ESCC also was able to bring down the National Police Service corrupt index also down the list. These are clear indication the international and national institution were able to pick the efforts from the National Police Service leadership of cracking and bringing programs which have managed to reduce the corruption activity within the service. One, we have looked at quite a number of sectors within the National Police Service, those areas which have been deemed corrupt, and a lot of programs, including the police awareness programs, including forums and streamlining efforts to ensure those areas the corruption practice have been reduced. And I will be very frank to you, Trevor, we have done a lot when it comes to issue of traffic. That's an area that we can discuss, but we have improved a lot on the issues of traffic management, where police was being accused of becoming corrupt in traffic management.
Okay. We'll come to the issues of traffic because I see there are so many questions coming through here. But IG, police officers are still facing a lot of challenges in their line of duty as we speak. And I have received quite a number of requests from them. Of course, I won't mention the names for obvious reasons. You're their boss. So there's a question here from a police officer who's wondering, what is the IG's policy in the terms of morale to the officers who enforce the law in terms of promotions, working conditions, counseling, equipment, official transportation of troops in volatile areas? What are you doing to support your own servicemen who are working under extremely difficult circumstances?
I will be very honest, Trevor, on this aspect. I've put a lot of my interest on the operations, officers in their operations areas. I've introduced trainings to enable officers become more capacity equipped in terms of handling the situation in their area of work. I've also facilitated the officers with equipment to enable them in terms of handling the threat before them. We are also looking in terms of facilitating the officers in their area of work, particularly small stipends, despite the fact of challenges of resources. in terms of giving them a lot of attentions when it comes to issues of their personal administrations. In terms of transport, I'm working round the clock to ensure officers in their area of operations, at least each team, in terms of deployments, we call them platoon or companies, they will have a vehicle for their movement. I'm also working hard, and I've already achieved, I can say, about 40 to 50% of giving them enough protective equipment, which enables them to handle the threat in their area of responsibility.
Okay.
I know the issue of transfer in those areas is a bit tricky, but I've emphasized officers should not work more than 3 years in their areas of duty, particularly in hardship areas. Though the challenge comes to the formed units. The formed units, they are deployed as a team, and they have a specific period to be in specific area of deployment, where most of deployment they will last about 1 year, and then they will be able to move to the next area.
Okay.
There's a lot in my package which I cannot be able to exhaust in this discussion, Trevor.
Okay.
But this is an area that I'm putting a lot of my efforts to streamline the operations.
Okay. There's still another question from a police officer who's wondering, why doesn't the IG appreciate the role of education in police reforms? There are more than 6,000 police officers who hold university degrees but are discharging duties where the education is not even helpful to the service. What are you doing to make sure that the people who attain higher degrees or higher levels of study are either promoted or are given extra work instead of the manual work?
Thank you, Trevor. That is an important question. This is an area that I'm putting a lot of focus. But one thing you need to know, we have career development guidelines for an officer entering into the service, and his movement in terms of progression in promotion and other area of career development. But as we move forward, we're still developing more opening for those officers who have a higher level of education. We might not be able to address the big number at a go, but programs of training and rewarding those officers who are capable to shoulder higher responsibility is something that I would like to tell you, Trevor, is lingering in my mind to ensure that officers who have managed to get better grades in their education, they will access to where they are supposed to be. But there's a career development guidelines which an officer will not definitely get a degree today, and then he jumps all the way to become a very senior officer, because there's that development in experience of an officer apart from the education to acquire certain skills and also gain experience for him to be able to move gradually to the next level. But that's something that I would like to assure my officers that I'm looking into that matter very seriously.
Okay. IG, there's another question here from a Fantas Mutiga who says, I feel there is a big problem with training techniques. How do they get trained as a force, a technique used since time immemorial, and expect them to behave as a service? IG, honestly, a lot of serious reforms are needed. Is there a plan to retrain your officers to move from a force to a service?
Programs in the National Police Service reforms, which are serious and undergoing despite the disruption during this time of COVID-19, we have put a lot of emphasis to ensure that the service gets continuously trained. And training, actually, it is supposed to take hover through the process until we see that our officers depart from that condition of being forced officers to officers who render service to Kenyans. But this one requires gradual and continuous training. We have carried quite a number of training, what we call the standardization and integration of the services. You realize beginning late last year, we managed to move 24,000 administration police service to join the Kenya Police Service. These officers have not worked together. And for these officers to be able to work together, their curriculum developed, and we even went almost to 30% training the officers to integrate together, enable the officers to transform to service delivery mandate. But because of the inches, as we all know about the COVID-19 condition, we were not able to keep this officer in an area where they will not be able to observe the social distance. But we are developing means and methods to enable to continue with this training. As I repeat that training is the solution to enable to convert officers to deliver service rather than to force service.
Okay.
So this is an area that emphasis in the reform has been put to ensure that we achieve this. We have achieved, I will not say that it is still in the infant stage. We have moved a long way from where we started, and we are looking towards to completely making the service, the police to the police service to the people.
There's another question here from a police officer, IG. He says, please hide my identity, but ask the boss, in the recent past, we've witnessed violence perpetrated by the civilians against the police. What steps has the IG taken to end this and ensure the safety of the police officers?
Okay, thank you, Trevor. We have started a program, Engage the IG, an effort to make the Kenyans understand that the National Police Service is part of the Kenyan population. We want to link that gap where the members of public and the officers in the police are able to interact freely. These are their own children, but doing police work. When it comes to engaging the IG, they have been able to get a very good response from the members of public, highlighting the issues that affect them in terms of policing work. And in this case, I'm expecting to achieve a greater role to ensure that there is a good relations with the National Police Service, with the members of public. However, we are putting a lot of emphasis in community policing, also to increase this interaction with the members of public. What we need is the members of public to understand the police are doing the work which is actually benefiting the Kenyans, the members of public. We are sending a very strong programs castigated down to the region, the counties, up to the sub-counties, to ensure those interaction programs with the members of public will be able to reduce the conflict between the police and the members of public. This is a new phenomenon which is arising, and we are addressing it seriously, that we ensure that the members of public are able to accommodate the national police officers. But strongly, I would like to put it very clear that any act of aggression against police it is not acceptable. It is termed illegal, and the police will not take it kindly. We'll work within the law to ensure also we bring this kind of manners and manner of the members of public behavior to an end. We urge the members of public to cooperate with the police officers so that we can be able to provide security to them. They are our client, and our motto is utumishi kwa wote.
Okay.
Thank you.
We have another question here from Abraham Gitonga, who's wondering, why do police officers fail to put on their identification numbers, especially on the roads? Are police officers supposed to wear the identification numbers, especially on the roads?
Yeah, sure. I agree with that. And we have instruction from top to down, commanders from the stations to the region to inspect officers on duties. And I expect this one from commanders to ensure that all police officers put on their identifications and they can be able to display them properly to openly to the members of public. Those who are not doing that, there is no good explanation not to display their identification numbers. And to the commanders, it is very clear that this is supposed to be a command issue to ensure, though it is an individual responsibility, but the commanders to ensure that their officers under them, they put the identification correctly and enforce that this one is not compromised.
Okay. We have another one here from Kanyinge Alex, who's really on your side. He says, watching Citizen TV Kenya in Ololunga in Narok. And IG, I want to congratulate you. I like how you are answering the questions on Twitter and how you respond to Wananchi complaints. I just have not much complaints. That's about Engage the IG. There's another one here from Wariama, who says various roadblocks still exist. 95% of these are just extortion points. The IG promised mobile traffic enforcement units. It seems the corruption in the road benefits the whole chain of police command, or is it government sanctioned?
Yes, I know time to time, Trevor, the issue of roadblocks will apply. Sometimes I will give directives to remove the roadblocks. I want to make it clear, like you have seen during the COVID-19 operations of roadblocks, because of the circumstances, we had roadblocks majorly in areas of Nairobi, Mombasa, and Northeastern, where we had to control the movement of people in and out the cities. So that case, roadblocks will come back. There are areas when there are no major issues of operating the roadblock operations. When it comes to festivities, particularly the end of the year during the Christmas period, because of the movement of people from the cities to the rural areas, you realize the number of accidents normally tends to go up. So these times we require roadblocks to ensure that we reduce cases of accident along our roads. So there's no standard procedure or a tablet that will say that we can completely do away with the roadblocks. But the emphasis is that the roadblocks are managed in a proper and professional way, where cases of individual officers are involved in a manner that is not acceptable. When they are found, action is taken against those officers.
Okay.
And also, I also let the commanders be aware that these are also areas that we need to keep close monitoring to ensure that we give the best service to our road users.
Okay.
I know that we introduced the mobile traffic.
Yeah.
But because of various activities involving the current situation of managing the COVID-19, we were not able to sustain the intended purpose.
Yeah.
Because of those disruption. But we have worked very closely with the NTSA. As you are aware, when we were launching the operations, NTSA gave us quite a number of vehicles, which our officers are now using along the major highways. Actually, the NTSA gave National Police Service 17 vehicles,
yeah,
which are in the highways. We minimize the presence of static police officers manning traffic management, apart from congested and major cities where we have to maintain the presence of police to control the traffic.
Okay.
But because of different times and different challenges, we have not been able to be consistent on that. But that is an area that we are investing a lot.
Yeah.
And working with our partners, particularly in NTSA, to ensure that we provide a good and efficient system of managing traffic.
Okay.
It's an area that we have put a lot of focus with my colleague, Mr. Njau, in NTSA.
Okay.
And I'm expecting to deliver a lot of better service in that area. Thank you.
All right, IG, I need to take a quick break. When we come back, there are several questions that were sent on video by Kenyans. I'll pose some of them to you and also run through a few Twitter questions that are coming through. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a bit.